Welcome back to Mass Appeal. From classical to Motown, the Springfield Symphony Orchestra has performances to please any crowd and some show-stopping concerts coming up. And as always, here to tell us more is the entertaining Kevin Rhodes. That's him right there. You're the director of the Springfield Symphony.
Good afternoon, Seth.
Some call you the maestro.
You can if you want. Kevin works as well.
Okay, I'll call you Kevin.
Or Kev, even. You know.
The K-man.
Right, K-Ro.
You have a couple great months coming up. K-Ro's sticking. K-Ro's sticking. You have a couple great months coming up before the end.
We absolutely do, and they get started this Saturday evening when Judy Collins, the folk pop icon of the 60s and 70s, comes and sings with the orchestra. And I tell you, Seth, I was just doing a little research on when her first album came out.
Yeah?
And it's incredible. It was 52 years ago.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, so so it's always exciting for me when, and I'm no longer the youngest guy on stage, but it still is exciting when a guest artist comes who just has decades of performance and musical work behind them. It's always something special somehow, you know?
Well, it's different too. It's not necessarily just in the orchestra background. She toured with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. She was
right
in that vein. So it must be interesting having that mind come to an orchestral mind.
Right. Well, she evidently, I didn't, most people don't know this about her, but she evidently got her start, as a kid, studying classical piano when she was little. And so the story goes, her first performance was at the age of 13 doing a piano duo of Mozart's 2 piano concerto.
No way.
So she does kind of come with that classical sensibility. But yeah, so what she does for her orchestra shows is she takes all of her big pop standards that she's had over the years, like "Send in the Clowns" and what's that one?
We'll come to it.
We'll come to it. We'll get to it. Right.
It's a great song.
But we take all of those songs and they've been put into an orchestral setting, and then she has her musicians that come with her drummer and her piano player, and I think a guitarist as well. And we put it all together, and it's just really just a beautiful evening there in Symphony Hall. 7:30 Saturday evening. Tickets available online at springfieldsymphony.org or our box office 231-733-2291. That's 733-2291.
I'm always intrigued. It's like that Saturday Night Live thing when the actor comes to Saturday Night Live and they rehearse for the week with the group. What's it like when someone comes in who's a little foreign to you? What's that meshing like?
Well, with all of these great artists, it's amazing how quickly it comes. Here's what it'll look like. On Saturday, first I'm going to meet with her music director who plays piano in the show, and we'll talk for about 40 minutes. We'll go through the songs, we'll go over little hot spots and whatever. I will have done all of my preparation, of course, in advance. And then the orchestra all arrives in town, and we do a big rehearsal with the orchestra, her band, and her, basically hitting all the hot spots, getting through everything, and then we all go away for dinner, come back and play the concert at 7:30 that night.
So that's it. It's
That's
only
it.
one quick.
One day, exactly.
If I'm going there, if I'm out there, and a lot of people do,
Right.
they must say you work on it for weeks and
Oh
weeks.
yeah. Well, it's really, if you're not in the professional music world, and particularly professional music world of the great classical musicians that we have in the Springfield Symphony, it really is shocking the speed with which everything comes together. And it's of course the speed with which it has to, because we all do all kinds of different things, and so for everybody, it's this week, Springfield, Judy Collins, come to town, do it, get it down, present a great show, and on to the next.
And Judy was here in, I think it was 1960. She was at UMass doing the show, so it's a homecoming of sorts for her, even though she's not from here.
Well, absolutely, and and she sort of has that. She was part of that whole '60s activism sort of mood, which I think still is.
I think it's bubbling up again.
I think it's still quite relevant here in Western Massachusetts, and every time we've had folk performers like the Kingston Trio, there is a huge audience here for this old traditional folk music, and she of course doesn't only do that, but that's a huge part of her repertoire and a huge part of her tradition. So like I say, it's amazing what a big audience we have for that here.
I think that's what's so intriguing about Springfield Symphony Orchestra. It's It's a collaboration. You have people from every walk of life coming in, and you make music together, and you bring the classical music and the symphony orchestra, you bring it to the masses, and you do a good job.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you know, it's one of the things that I love about my job is that I get to do lots of different things. You know, in a year I will play everything from the theme from the Pink Panther to a Mahler symphony, and get to work with great classical violinists or pianists, but then also great, like I say, folk pop icons like Judy Collins. So I'm a lucky guy.
Now, Kevin, last question.
Sure.
Parents know why they want to go to the orchestra, to see, you know, one of their legends, and also just to have a great time. Why should the kids go too?
Well, because there is nothing like hearing a live performance with 70 musicians on stage performing for you. You know, so much of the musical entertainment we get nowadays is just from recordings or TV. And while that's great, there is nothing to replace the sound of an orchestra playing live. And we also have an orchestra part of the program, sort of to open things up. And in that part of the program, we're going to play a bunch of famous classical music that's used in movies, like William Tell, and some stuff that was in Fantasia, Night on Bald Mountain, and music from Carmen and whatever. So some good, tuneful, recognizable classical music.
A little bit of everything.
You got it.
Kevin, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Seth.
Hey, and for more information on the Springfield Symphony Orchestra, you can visit springfieldsymphony.org.